Intermittent problems are always the hardest ones to track down because usually when you're testing them, they don't fault. And that was the case with the Tascam DAP1 that I was working on. I must have spent 10 hours on this thing, just winding tapes back and forth, playing them, stopping them, and the thing wouldn't act up. Until today, I was just going to send it back and I was giving it some final tests, and the fault finally reared its ugly head. Let's check it out. So I'm just still working on this Tascam DAP1. As the owner of it said, it comes up saying T cut, indicating the tape has been cut. And a note said it did it when he was playing the tape back. And I've run this tape through here probably, this is a 2-hour tape, I've probably run this tape through 10 times, and I ran a 1-hour tape through multiple times and rewound, fast forward. Couldn't find any problem. So I figured I would just try running this thing and fast forward and rewind and see whether I could spot the problem. Watch the, I wasn't recording this, so hopefully I can duplicate this because I did see it do it, but watch the spool here, the supply spool. I'm going to go into fast forward, and I'm going to then stop it once it's been running for a bit at full speed. Watch the reel. When I hit stop, I'm going to hit stop right now, see if it will stop immediately or whether it will continue to spin. There. I think that's our fault. The brake isn't stopping this reel fast enough. So there's now slack. And if I go into play, you'll see that the take-up spool starts, but the supply spool doesn't. And then the machine will probably detect that there's a fault with the tape. So I think this is where our fault is on this one. See, when I rewind, it stops immediately, but on fast forward once in a while, it doesn't do it every time, but there, it did it again. So I think that's where our fault is. We got a bad break. Not a break on the tape either, a tape spool break on the supply side. I'm pretty sure that's where my fault is on here. So let's just take a quick look and see whether one of the pads is shot on here or has fallen off. I didn't see them falling off when I kind of looked at it. I looked at them and the pads look to be there, but it sure looks like we've got a brake problem on here. So let's just pop this top off, and the brake pads are there. They're certainly there, but I'm wondering if one of the brake pads is out of position. That's what I'm thinking, is that maybe this brake pad here has moved out of position. Oh yes, see, this brake pad is shifted. I think this is our fault right here. This brake pad here, it looks to be, it's shifted up a bit. So all I need to do is glue this back into place. There's where our fault is. This brake pad has come loose. So if I pop this brake pad out, I should be able to grab it and peel it right out of here. Yeah, there's our fault. And of course it didn't rear its ugly head until I actually started winding it back and forth. First couple times I did it, when I was testing this thing, like I was scanning a tape back and forth that had multiple tracks on it, and I went back and forth, multiple times, and it never faulted. It wasn't until I put in one of these longer, this is a data cartridge, right? One of these ones. This is a longer, thinner tape, and that's when it reared its ugly head, was when I went to one of these longer, thinner tapes. The data cartridges, which is a tape that this tape's been kind of chewed up, so this is what I use when I'm not so sure about the machine. But there we go. There's our fault. So I'm just going to get some glue, and we're going to cement that little pad back in place. How's this other one? This other one looks to be okay. Yeah, this one's okay. I'm going to get some rubber cement. We'll glue that pad back in place, and that should solve the problem with this one. And I don't even have to take it apart. That's always great when you don't have to rip the machine apart to get at the problem area. I can access it right down through here. It seems like a quick, easy fix, but this machine has been on the bench for several hours. Of course, initially, when the complaint said, didn't say it happened when he was fast forwarding or rewinding. He just said it came up tape cut. So, of course, or the tape indicator indicate the tape was broken. Of course, I'm running the thing. I'm playing it end to end to see if anything's going to fault, as in playing the tape. And it turns out that the fault only appears once you've been winding at high speed, and it's probably a lot of it dependent on the length of the tape, because when I was playing some of these shorter tapes that I've got. I've got a bunch of stuff recorded on these shorter tapes, and it never faulted. Like this one here, I ran this is a 60-minute tape. I ran this one through it multiple times, fast forward and rewind, and it never faulted on here. But again, the tape load is a little bit lighter because it's a shorter tape. Okay, we're just going to get some cement on there, and if you're wondering what I'm just using rubber cement, right? Good old rubber cement. That should be more than adequate to hold this on. This stuff is, well, this stuff is kind of sticky, so actually this stuff is quite, contact cement would work good, but I think this will hold it. Get some onto a little pick here, and then I can just dab a bit of it onto there. And then put the pad back in place. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for a while, and then we'll give it a try and see if it solves our problem. I'm pretty confident that that will fix the problem now that I've seen it. I was thinking about that maybe there's a brake problem, and I did look at this. I did look at the brake pad initially when I had this up the other day, and it didn't appear to be loose or anything, but it apparently is loose, and that's one of the problems with these machines. It happens quite often. The other thing I was looking at, which I was concerned about, which wasn't a fault on this, was what quite often happens is this this cracks. I'll try to get a close up in here if I can. This plastic right in the middle of the screen, right down here, that cracks and allows the pin to drop. That's the biggest problem I find on these, is that plastic breaks where this pin goes through. This cracks on the pendulum gear. It hasn't broken on this one, but that's usually what goes wrong with these, is this cracks and allows the pin to drop down, and then it doesn't make contact and the reel stop turning. That's what I was initially looking at this was that, and I was looking in here, and that pad did not appear to be loose. You see, this one here's okay. It's not moving. Probably wouldn't hurt to put just a dab of glue on there just in case, just to prevent it from moving at some point. So maybe we'll just put just a dab of glue on there. Alright, that should be plenty of time for drying. This stuff dries pretty quick. It only takes a few minutes, so let's try some fast forward and stopping and see what happens. There, that's a little better. No slack forming as you watch the tape. Right, there's no slack forming. So that's that should be good. This is a log from a radio station that I recorded years and years and years ago. FM station that I picked up when I think this was down in the States, if I'm not mistaken. This was a log of a station down in the States. Oh, this stuff's recorded. That part of this portion of the tape's in the LP speed, and this deck doesn't not support LP. This deck only supports 44.1 and 48 kilohertz at the normal speed. So if I play something that's recorded in LP, I just get a message on here. That's back to 48. Right, but if I forward to a portion of the tape which is in the LP speed, because you'll see it'll tell me it's in, I think, there we go, 32 LP. You see the counter moving? It's playing it at double speed. This machine does not support 32 LP. It just gives you a warning. So if you've got any recordings on these machines that are in the LP speed, they won't play on this machine. Not that people should be using the LP speed. It only goes to 15 kilohertz on these machines, but I used to use it quite often when I was just logging radio stations, because FM, of course, doesn't extend beyond 15 kilohertz anyway, so for that it was fine. But not every machine supports the 32 kilohertz speed. And this is one that doesn't. It only supports 48 and 44.1, which you can see right here. There's a selector switch. Anyway, I'm pretty confident that this one's going to be okay now, so we're going to send it back. Thanks for watching.